What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Spags with the large sheet back with a motherfucking banger. I said it's your boy Spags with the large sheet back with a motherfucking banger. Um, this one's kind of weird. We got wait. Whoa, what the fuck? The most embarrassing ways people died. Get straight into this bitch. Nah, me.
On July 4th, 1991, three friends in Eaton, Ohio had been drinking all day to celebrate the holiday.
Type shit.
At some point, they got hungry for fresh pork chops, so they drove to a nearby farm and stole a pig. They loaded the hog into the back of their pickup truck and took off. No rope, no cage, nothing to hold it down. The pig was not happy about this. As they sped along at 90 miles per hour, the pig started going crazy, kicking and thrashing around in the truck bed. None of the three men were wearing seatbelts. When the pig got ejected from the truck, the driver swerved to avoid it and lost control. The truck went off the road, and all three men were thrown from the vehicle. All
Damn.
three died. The pig
Damn.
survived. It walked away from the crash without a scratch. The farmer got his pig back, but the three men never got their pork chops. The elephant that
Damn.
came back. In June
Oh,
2022, a woman named
I
Maya
remember
Murmu
this.
was going about her day in eastern India. She lived in
Yep.
an area where humans and elephants often crossed
Yep. Yep.
paths.
Yep. Yep.
And that day, an elephant attacked her and trampled her to death. Tragic, but in regions where elephants roam free, these things happen. Her family prepared her funeral and placed her body on the pyre. Mourners gathered to say goodbye, and they thought it was over. It wasn't. The same elephant that had killed her showed up at the funeral. It walked straight toward the pyre, grabbed Maya's body with its trunk, and pulled her off. Then it stamped on her corpse over and over. When it was done, it tossed her body aside. The mourners ran and the elephant left. Nobody knows why.
But there's like a whole backstory to this. Like she did the lady did something to the elephant's kid, the baby, elephant's baby, and I don't know. I think that's the story. I don't know if this is like the same one, but
It came back. Maybe it remembered her, or maybe it held a grudge. Either way, killing her once wasn't enough. The lawyer who proved too much. In 1871, a lawyer named Clement Vallandigham was defending a murder case in Ohio. His client was accused of shooting a man to death, but Clement had a theory. He believed the victim had actually shot himself by accident while drawing his own gun. It wasn't murder, just a clumsy mistake. He decided to prove it to the jury right there in the courtroom. Clement grabbed a pistol to demonstrate exactly how the victim could have accidentally shot himself while pulling out his weapon. He would show them step by step. There was one problem. The gun was loaded. Clement pulled the trigger during his demonstration and shot himself right in the abdomen, the same way the victim had died. He had proven his point a little too well. Clement died about 12 hours later, but his demonstration worked, and the jury was convinced. His client was found not guilty. The crocodile on the
hey,
plane. On
if I'm the nigga that's not guilty, hey, W lawyer, RP in the chat, W lawyer.
August 25th, 2010, a small plane was flying over the Democratic Republic of the Congo with 21 people on board. One
Okay.
of them had a secret. He had snuck a crocodile onto the plane in a duffel bag. Why? No one knows. They were coming into land when the crocodile escaped from the bag. It ran through the cabin, and people saw it and freaked out. The flight attendant rushed toward the cockpit, and all the passengers followed. All the weight on the plane shifted forward, and the pilots lost control. The plane crashed into a house just short of the runway. 20 people died. The pilots, the flight attendant, and 17 passengers.
Okay,
All
who's the
because
one
one man
person?
wanted to smuggle a crocodile. There was one survivor who told police what happened. No
Right?
one would have believed him otherwise. The crocodile also survived the crash without a scratch. It crawled out of the wreckage, and someone killed it with a machete. The rooster. On January 30th, 2011, a 35-year-old man named Jose Luis Ochoa was at an illegal cockfight in Tulare County, California.
Mm.
Cockfighting is when people strap
That's probably the worst way to go out. Oh my god, if he got cut anywhere, his under his legs, any type of leg, anything, bruh.
knives to roosters and make them fight each other, and it's illegal in all 50 states. Ochoa was no stranger to the scene. The year before, he had paid $370 in fines after pleading no contest to owning or training an animal for fighting. During one of the fights, a rooster broke loose and started flapping around in a panic. It slashed Ochoa in the right calf. The blade cut a major artery.
Yup.
Ochoa was bleeding badly and needed to get to a hospital. But then police showed up to break up the cockfight, and Ochoa fled the scene along with everyone else. By the time he finally made it to a hospital, it was too late. He died about 2 hours later. Ochoa had trained roosters to kill. In the end, one killed him. The killer who couldn't swim. In 2017, a man and his girlfriend were having a nasty argument by the Havel River in Germany. Things got physical. He grabbed her and shoved her into the freezing water, expecting her to sink. The river was 35 degrees Fahrenheit, and his plan was simple. She would drown. There was one problem. She was an expert swimmer. She started making her way back to shore, and he panicked. His plan was falling apart, so he jumped in after her to finish the job. There was another problem. He couldn't swim. She made it to land and was rescued, but he didn't make it anywhere. Police pulled
That's the fuck you get. That no. That's exactly what the fuck you get.
him from the river.
I'm not one to say, hey, go ahead and murder somebody. But there's easier ways. I'm not saying you should do it. But you could have just waited. You see, there's grass right here. You could have just waited. That's all I'm
And
saying.
rushed him
That's
to
all
the
I'm gonna
hospital,
say.
where he slipped into a coma. They charged him with
Do not do none of this. This is for information only. Please don't practice none of this shit.
attempted murder while he lay unconscious in his hospital bed. He never woke up. He died on February 14th, Valentine's Day. The
Damn.
Atomic Wedgie. On the night of December 21st, 2013, in Oklahoma, a stepson named Bradley Davis, a Marine veteran, got
Okay.
into a fight with his stepfather, Denver St. Clair. The argument got heated. Neighbors heard them shouting. Then Denver said something about Bradley's mom. Bradley snapped. He grabbed his stepfather's underwear and pulled hard. He didn't stop, and he kept pulling until the waistband went all the way over Denver's head. You've seen this in cartoons. A kid pulls another kid's underwear up their back as a joke. Everyone laughs, and no one gets hurt. This was not a cartoon. The underwear wrapped around Denver's neck and cut off his air. He couldn't breathe. Denver St. Clair died from a wedgie. The police came and saw the marks on his neck. They ruled it death by asphyxiation, and Bradley was arrested and charged with manslaughter. He got 30 years in prison for a wedgie. The garbage
Damn.
chute water slide. On July 14th, 2000, a group of friends came back to a Calgary apartment after a night of drinking. It was almost
Right.
3 a.m., and someone came up with a challenge. The building had a garbage chute that went straight down 12 stories. One of the guys joked that it would make a great water slide. Everyone laughed. Then a 25-year-old named Sheldon said he'd actually do it. He
Right.
climbed into the chute and went down headfirst, beating the elevator to the bottom. But the ride didn't end in a pile of trash. It ended in the trash compactor, which turned on as soon as he landed. His friends rushed down and tried CPR until help arrived. It was too late. It was the worst water slide ever. The Hurricane Party. In
Right.
1969, Hurricane
Dumbass.
Camille was heading straight for the Mississippi coast. The government told everyone to leave, and if you couldn't leave, find somewhere safe. A group of friends had a different idea. They decided to throw a party. They wanted to watch the hurricane up close, so they picked a second-floor apartment right on the beach. The view was perfect. The location was not. Someone said the concrete foundation would keep them safe. They invited everyone they knew, and more people showed up. They had drinks, they had food, and they watched the storm roll in. Then the
Yeah.
wave came. It was 24 feet tall and hit the building head on. The walls ripped open, and the whole place fell apart, and everyone inside got swept out to sea. Hurricane
Oh,
Camille killed
man.
143 people that night. 20 of them were at that one party. The Chimney Burglar. On November 27, 2015, 19-year-old Cody Caldwell decided to rob a house in Huron, California. The owner was away and the lights were off, so it looked like an easy target. But Cody didn't break a window or pick the lock. He thought he'd be clever. He climbed onto the roof and went down the chimney like Santa Claus. He got stuck halfway. Cody couldn't go up and he couldn't go down. He was trapped inside the chimney all night. The next morning, the homeowner came back. It was late November and it was cold, so he did what anyone would do. He lit a fire. Then he heard screaming coming from inside the chimney. He put the fire out as fast as he could and called the police. They came and pulled Cody out, still alive but badly hurt from the smoke and the heat. Cody died shortly after from asphyxiation. The Grand Canyon Prank. In 1992, a
Cody.
38-year-old man named Greg Austin Gingrich was vacationing at the Grand Canyon in Arizona with his teenaged daughter. They were standing near the edge of a cliff,
Oh,
taking in the
fuck.
view. Greg decided to play a joke on his daughter. He started pretending to lose his balance, waving his arms around like he was about to fall. He wanted to scare her. His daughter was not impressed. She'd seen this joke before. She rolled her eyes and walked on ahead.
Dumbass nigga. Dumbass nigga. Dumbass nigga.
Then Greg actually lost his balance. He fell 400 feet into the canyon. His daughter wasn't even watching anymore, all for a joke that didn't land. The hot sauce.
Get it? It didn't land. Hey, get it?
On February 27, 2012, a 43-year-old man named Gary Banning was hanging out at a friend's apartment in Havelock, North Carolina. His friend was a mechanic who kept a jar of gasoline by the kitchen sink to remove grease from his hands. Gary saw the salsa jar sitting by the sink. It was full of golden liquid, and he thought it might be alcohol. He grabbed it and took a big gulp. It wasn't alcohol. It was gasoline. Gary spat it out. His mouth was burning and the gas was all over his clothes. He needed to calm down, so he went outside to smoke a cigarette. He burst into flames instantly. Firefighters found him badly burned, sitting on a charred carpet. He died the next morning at a hospital burn center. The investigator called it just a freak incident. It wasn't. The RC plane. Roger Wallace was 60 years old and used to race drag cars in Arizona. Then
Okay.
he decided drag racing was too dangerous and he needed a safer hobby. So he joined a radio-controlled airplane club. On May 18, 2002, Roger was out flying his RC plane with his club near Tucson. It was a nice morning, and the plane weighed about 6 pounds with a 5-foot wingspan. Then the
Okay.
sun got in his eyes. Roger lost sight of his plane and couldn't see where it was, but the plane was still flying and he was still holding the controller. He flew it directly into himself. The plane hit him hard. He never woke up, and he died shortly after. The club president called it the freakiest of freak accidents. He got killed by a toy plane. The dumpster nap. One night in July 2009, a 35-year-old teacher named Scott Williams went out drinking with his flatmate in Brighton, England. They hopped between pubs until his flatmate got kicked out of a bar for falling asleep. After that, the two got separated. It was raining hard, and Scott needed somewhere to shelter. He found a large wheelie bin, climbed inside, and fell asleep. The next morning, the garbage truck came. The driver didn't check inside. He lifted the bin and dumped it into the back of the truck, and the compactor turned on. It had happened before in Brighton. Twice, homeless men had been scooped up the same way, but workers heard them screaming and stopped the compactor in time. No one heard Scott. 2 days later, workers at a waste transfer site found Scott's body among the rubbish. His flatmate fell asleep in a pub and got kicked out. Scott fell asleep in a bin and never woke up. The
Damn.
train roof. On June 11, 2008, two friends from North Canterbury, New Zealand wanted to get to Christchurch, which was 36 miles away. Cole Higginson was 25 and Nicholas Uprichard was 23. They didn't have money for a bus, so they came up with another idea. A freight train was passing through Waipara, and it slowed down as it took a corner. The two friends climbed on top of one of the wagons. Free ride, no ticket needed. Pretty clever, right? What they didn't account for was the railway footbridge near Blythe Road. It had less than 20 inches of clearance. The train was traveling at 50 miles per hour. It was nighttime. They never saw it coming. A forklift driver found their bodies on the roof of the wagon when the train arrived in Christchurch. Both had died instantly from severe head injuries. A bus ticket would have cost them a few dollars. The grenade selfie. In 2017, a man named Alexander in Russia wanted to impress his girlfriend. He had a grenade, and for some reason he thought holding it would make a cool photo. So he sat in his car, pulled the pin out, held it up, and took some pictures of himself. Then he tried to put the pin back in. It wouldn't go back in. The pin is the safety, and once you pull it out, the grenade is live. Alexander thought it wouldn't explode as long as he didn't throw it. He was wrong. The grenade went off and Alexander died in his car. Police found his phone with the photos still on it. They ruled it an accident. He just didn't know how grenades work. The manhole. On February
He
2nd,
just didn't know how
2008, a
grenades work.
biology teacher named Lydia
Fuck out of
Tsakova
here.
was driving through
The
Sofia,
fuck?
Bulgaria, with her husband and a friend. She had been doing chemistry experiments at home
What kind of
and had
car was
leftover
that?
chemicals she needed to get rid of, including bottles of diethyl ether and methanol. Both are highly flammable. The car stopped near a school in the Hadzi Dimitar district. All three got out, walked over to a drainage shaft, and started pouring the chemicals down the hole. The sewer was an enclosed space. The fumes built up fast. Something sparked and the whole thing went up. The explosion was so powerful, it launched the manhole cover into the air. It hit Lydia on the way up and took her head off. She died instantly. Her husband and friend survived, but were rushed to the hospital with severe burns. The friend fell into a coma. She was a biology teacher. She should have known better. The tiger fence. On a Sunday morning in December 2005, a mugger in Bloemfontein, South Africa, robbed a
Uh-huh.
couple at knife point. Security
Right.
guards nearby saw it happen and gave chase. The mugger needed to get away fast. There was a fence nearby, so he jumped over it and into the zoo. He ended up in the tiger enclosure. There were two
Damn.
of them. The tigers mauled him to death. A visitor to the zoo found his body later that day, covered in bite marks. The tigers had been fed the day before, so they weren't hungry enough to eat him. If they hadn't been fed, there would have been nothing left to find. If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video.
Nigga, what in the fuck? I don't even think I want to watch this nigga videos no more. What the fuck? Oh, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow me on all types of social media platforms. It's all smacks the boss. Say, bro. Hey, deuces, bitch.